Hi, folks. It's Gary here, and a very warm welcome back to the fourth official here on YouTube as we look to debrief all the main talking points coming out of the January transfer window, slamming shut. Copyright Sky Sports. As always, a big thank you for joining us. And today's big story is regarding a new signing for Rangers, but one we will have to wait until the summer until we can see him in a Rangers jersey. Yes, Lyall Cameron, the Dundee and Scotland under-21 midfielder, has signed a pre-contract agreement with Rangers, a contract believed to be a 3-year deal, which will take effect from the summer. Now, this is news that's not a surprise really to anyone. We've been linked with Lyall Cameron pretty much all season, and here on the fourth official, we've been speaking with Dundee fan Nicola Arnside with regards to Lyall's future on previous shows this season in terms of the kind of warm-ups before games against Dundee. And it's been fair to say he's been one of Dundee's star performers so far this season, and a player who very much will come into the Rangers squad in the summer and add a much-needed kind of Scottish addition in there alongside the likes of Connor Barron and Bailey Rice. It's something that Niels Coppin and Philippe Clement have mentioned about having more of a Scottish identity in the squad, and it certainly helps when it comes to the likes of the European squads, because we've had to deregister a few players this season, like Yanis Hadji and Danilo, because there wasn't enough Scottish players to go around. So certainly, I think it certainly adds to that quota, and helps add an extra bit of quality. A player who I think's got a very high ceiling and someone who can come in and be in and around that kind of first team squad, to replace the likes of Kieran Dowell, maybe Tom Lawrence as well, in terms of giving us that other option, goal scoring midfielder coming from deep, as certainly an area of the park that I think Rangers could do a little bit better in. Obviously, we've got Yanis Hadji at the moment and Nadeem Bayrami, who can play that sort of kind of number 10 role, but with doubts over Yanis Hadji's long-term Rangers future. Obviously, Tom Lawrence out of contract at the end of the season as well. For me, it's a deal that was a bit of a no-brainer, something that's not going to cost us a huge amount of money, and we'll certainly see what happens when he comes in and becomes a Rangers player in the summer. Now, there was attempts to try and get Lyall Cameron in during this January window, but that deal couldn't be done. Dundee retaining him till the end of the season. And one of the main reasons for that, it's my understanding, is that Dundee had expressed an interest in Rangers defender Leon King. However, Leon King picking up that concussion injury in the opening minutes against Union Saint-Gilloise in Europa League last week, meaning that he's now going to be out of action for a few weeks, and therefore that kind of proposed swap deal, which would have seen Leon King going to Dundee on loan till the end of the season to cover Lyall Cameron coming in during the January window, couldn't be done. And we'll see what happens with regards to Leon King's future in the summer. Certainly a player who will want to have more first team football, certainly going into next season. He not had a huge amount of minutes for Rangers this season, and when the likes of Clinton and Shala certainly replaced him in terms of that pecking order, in terms of defensive options. But he's still young, he's still got time on his side, but he hasn't been someone that Philippe Clement has turned to, even despite Rangers' horrific injuries this season, with the likes of Dujon Sterling and James Tavernier playing at centre back, Reid van Yilmaz playing at left back, the left back playing at right back. So minutes haven't been kind to Leon King this season. I think for his own development, getting some game time next season would be beneficial for him. Whether Dundee reignite that interest in him, or other teams in Scotland or abroad, down in England, look at him. But I think for all parties, the summer is going to be very interesting for Leon King, because he can't continue to just tread water and not play a lot of football. One departure that did happen, though, yesterday was Zak Lovelace. Now, we reported on our last video that Rangers had offered a new deal to the English striker, who was out of contract at the end of this season. But Zak Lovelace has returned back down south and gone back to his former club Millwall for a undisclosed fee. Now, reports regarding that fee are a little bit mixed. Some people, including the journalist Adam Borchwich, stating that that fee could be upwards of £1 million for Zak Lovelace. It's my understanding that it's maybe not quite as much as that. However, Rangers have got a healthy sell-on fee with regards to that deal for Zak Lovelace to return home, wanted to be closer to family and back in. And obviously, Zak Lovelace has had a lot of issues with injuries up at Rangers. It's not quite worked out for him, but we saw just a couple of weeks ago with the assist he had up at Tannadice. He is a player who has got a lot of upside for me, and I think will go on to a decent career. Say injury doubts over whether or not he will properly reach the heights that he could do so. But Rangers, as I say, with a healthy sell-on clause in Zak Lovelace's deal down to Millwall and a fee that can certainly look to be used in the summer, when certainly Rangers will look to go again in terms of the transfer market. No other exits out the door yesterday. Cyril Dessers and Ridvan Yilmaz very much remaining as Rangers players. Ridvan continued to be a source of discussion within the Turkish media. Talk of a Besiktas deal where they had offered €1 million in terms of a loan fee for Ridvan Yilmaz, with an obligation to pay €3 million in the summer, allegedly knocked back by Rangers. And the word coming out of the Rangers camp last night, the likes of Chris Jack and the Rangers Review, stating that Philippe Clement didn't sell any players that he wanted to hold on to, which I thought was a very interesting statement with regard to potentially the likes of Ridvan Yilmaz and Cyril Dessers, who certainly had some interest during this January window, but was deemed that they were still needed in and around the squad. And I think given the lack of numbers that we've got, having moved out the likes of Remy Matondo to Hanover, Kieran Dowell going down to Birmingham City on loan, obviously Zak Lovelace now exiting the squad as well, it does leave us a little bit light, although it does now give the opportunity for Philippe Clement to continue to use some of our kind of promising young players. The likes of Finlay Curtis, Bailey Rice have had some minutes so far. Paul Ancio had some minutes in the European game against Union recently, and these are three players I think can expect to be involved in and around the first team squad between now and the end of the season, to really see whether or not they are going to be a full-time option for the first team squad next season. Obviously, Bailey Rice, I think, for me, has got a massive upside, and is someone that I would like to see us giving more minutes to. So at the weekend, against Ross County, when he came on as a sub at half time, he was very unlucky not to score on a couple of occasions, a couple of good saves from the Ross County goalkeeper. He obviously had that opportunity down at Old Trafford as well. So further minutes, I think, for Bailey Rice between now and the end of the season, a player that will continue to grow in the Rangers jersey. And certainly next season, the Rangers midfield will certainly have a much bigger Scottish flavour with the arrival of Lyall Cameron. Full coverage of the transfer window will be over on our Patreon channel. That's patreon.com/the4thofficial. We'll be looking at all the transfer deals in and out of Scotland, and also some of the big stories in the English Premiership. So you can join us on that one, dropping on our Patreon channel either later tonight or tomorrow. And also our big interview with Rangers star Kai Kennedy. Will be recording on Thursday night. So if you've got any questions that you want us to pose to the former Rangers youngster, let us know either in the comments to this video, or you can find me over on X. It's at Gaspop81. Big thank you to you all for watching this one. I'll speak to you next time. Goodbye.